Tell you how many licensed artists I have tried to coach and encourage, and I've come alongside because they're dear friends of mine, and they just won't follow the simple steps. Like one of the things I always said is post something every single day if you can. It impacts the algorithm. You will be seen better if you are one of those people that is a consistent, producer. And, because licensing is so intense, they never do that. And that's what I return to. That's probably the key thing that I return to coming out of, working with you guys. So things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because you come from a whole other perspective. We want to get that perspective of all those people that are licensing and how they're in their own little world and how it just seems like overwhelming to get do one more thing. It's like me with my taxes. I have them every year. I'm going to do it. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just so busy. And then the deadline.
Oh, great.
My pile is still a big
That's my
pile.
husband does that.
Yeah, exactly.
My husband does that, fortunately. So.
No, but just if you did every month something, right? Or then you got your files together for at least that month. And so this is kind of the same approach. But so I'm going to put in what would you say to others? I'll put that in as the last piece. And so then so what we're going to do is we're going to record it here on Zoom, but we're also going to record it on something called ScreenFlow. So Jen's just setting that up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the welcome to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur podcast and all that stuff. And then today we have this. And so, we just want to make sure that you know that that's coming. And then at the end, we're going to go thank you. Yeah. Even though we're not talking to you at that point, we're just talking to the recording. Okay. And
I get it.
Just making sure we've got the right audio. Perfect. Okay. Now I've got why did I have to do that again now? Sorry. Meh.
Okay. You guys are the techies.
She's a techie.
You've had to learn a lot.
I have no idea. How do you set this up? Yeah. No, if it wasn't for Jen.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey there, it's Jen.
And Alka.
And welcome. What is it that you're waiting
I'm always first, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, let me go again. Okay, are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey there, it's Alka.
And Jen, and welcome to another episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast. And we have a lovely guest with us today, Audrey Jean, and she's going to be talking to us about her Zazzle journey, how she got started on Zazzle, and giving tips and tricks for licensees on Zazzle. And just talking about her journey and how she's grown with us too.
What I want you to stick around for, don't just skip over this podcast, because guess what? Audrey is what's called a Platinum Zazzle Pro designer. That means she's already got a ton of chops behind her. She's done really, really well. And yet she struggled with something. And we're going to hear all about that journey and what she thought about it and how she overcame it. And so listen closely. And let's just keep 20 minutes open here. If you have to pause it because you're in the middle of something, this is an episode you don't want to miss. Okay. So we're ready to get started. So welcome, Audrey Jean.
Welcome.
So, and I just want to—
Good morning, you guys.
Yeah. And I want to give a little thing. When I first started on Zazzle, I looked up to Audrey Jean. She was already rocking it on Zazzle way back in 2008. And I think that is such an inspiration for me to be able to say that right now, because I totally value whatever Audrey Jean's set up and done. And she's going to tell us her story. But listen, I was she was my idol when I first started. And it's I want to be like her. So this is why this is such an important podcast. You're going to hear an amazing story. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is let you say something about yourself. Tell us a little bit more tell our audience who you are and what you've been doing on Zazzle, and just go for it. This is casual chat.
Well, I've been blessed. I never took a single art class in high school. I never had any ideas that I would end up being a professional artist. But I just fell in love with watercolor and paper and calligraphy. And from there on, I wanted to be home like you. I wanted to be home with my kids. I'd been a latchkey child. And I didn't want my kids to be a latchkey child. I wanted to really be able to be their mom. And that was my favorite part of life. Yes. So I just started doing crafts and doing with calligraphy, and I used watercolor to do with that. And I made a really, really good income, but I was traveling at shows, the entire fall season and doing huge craft shows at, indoor venues, but, really big promoter kind of stuff. And I was exhausted all the time. And again, I wasn't home with my kids. So when I started to get the opportunity, when the internet began to come into play in early 2000, 1999, somewhere in that age, I started to look into doing some things differently. Started to digitize my art. At that point in time, my first licensing agent found me. And I'm currently now with MHS Licensing. For anybody that knows the licensing world, they're a phenomenal licensing agency. They have 4 agents who are constantly giving me assignments. It's like having 4 professors who don't know what everybody else is giving you, and it doesn't really matter. You just need to do what they need you to do. So it's a hectic world. It's an intense world. The reason I wanted something more than that is it also can be really flaky. It can be one month you have a $7,000 check, the next month it's a $500 check. And it's really hard to do a budget based on, and it can be one year you have a phenomenal year, and the next year your licensing collections didn't hit quite as well. So if you don't want to constantly be in financial turmoil, Zazzle's an amazing outlet for that. And that's where I started and why I started doing it. So, and I love it.
And it's interesting because a lot of people who are on Zazzle, they go like, oh, how can I get better? Let's do some licensing and things. It's like, so we're hearing the other way around, that it's more stable income if you're doing the right thing on Zazzle, right?
Yes. And licensing is very, very, very hard work. It's rewarding, it's challenging. There are reasons that you want to do it, but for a feel-good life, Zazzle's a much better approach. To have a life outside of working, Zazzle's a much better approach.
So for anyone who's listening who doesn't actually know what Zazzle's all about, it's a print-on-demand company. So, and then we as artists can put our graphic designs, artwork, in Audrey Jean's case, and photography up on the platform on these products that are like all virtual. But because we're providing those designs and showcasing them the way they would look if you made the physical product, people buy them. And then Zazzle takes care of everything except for, us putting the designs up. They pay us, they take care of customer service and whatnot, and we get a nice little royalty, and we don't have to schlep our stuff to the craft fairs, which I've done, Jen's done, and it's a lot of hard work, right? And also you don't have to be told by the people that you're licensing your stuff to, make a sunflower in this position or with this dog and this whatever. You can just put up whatever you want. And it might sell. Obviously, there's a bit more to it because we want to target certain customers. But the key here is that Zazzle can be a consistent long-term passive income for you, because that's the other thing. You're not always working, right? Audrey Jean puts up one thing and then she's got it working for her all the time, right?
Yeah. Well, and your back catalog with licensees, you can spend a lot of time creating a product line. It could be one season. It could be 1 year. It could be 5 years. Like my bed and bath things are a much longer cycle. Things will be in, I've got some things in Bed Bath and Beyond, companies of that nature. And it'll be, 4 or 5 years because they've invested a lot in creating those products. But that isn't, that's not a guarantee on anything that I do. So with Zazzle, that catalog is always there and I can always refresh it.
It's amazing, huh? Yeah, like some things that you posted in probably 2008 are still selling, probably. And that's amazing. The huge lifespan of that work that you did that one time when you first made the beautiful painting, and then you uploaded it onto products, and those products could still be selling now, or they could just start selling now. We've had things like that happen where 5 years later, we finally get a sale on one of the things we posted, but then it just takes off. Has that happened to you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and the market constantly changes, but it cycles, and so color palettes come back around again. You know, seashells are always there. How do seashells look this season? What's somebody beach interior going to look like this season? You know, and that's the fun of it for me as a designer, because I am, in addition to being an artist, I am a designer. I do product design for manufacturers. Well, I can now take that gift and be my own product designer for my own manufactured line. So
That's amazing. That's so cool. So then let us know a little bit more about your Zazzle journey up to before you met us, let's say.
I started, I forget, within 6 months of starting. When I started, I said, this is a long-term project. I'm not even going to review my dollars and decide whether I'm going to continue with this or not until after 1 year has happened. I just made that mental commitment because I knew I would have to have a large enough product line for it really to start moving and really start selling. I'd always wanted to do wedding invitations, but I never wanted to deal with the bride, you know, on an intimate day-to-day basis and all the rest of that. So that was the first real big appeal to me with Zazzle, was that. And then, so once I started, it was within 6 months, I was $1,000 a month. I mean, I really had a good kickoff, a good start. I was noticed at that point in time with one of the heavy hitter, what do you call it? The people that do promotion. And so my income began to skyrocket. But what I realized before, and I'm kind of jumping ahead of the story, but what I realized before I called you is I never really got my tags and titles and descriptions right. They just promoted my work and they did the correct tags and titles. And so my income over the next 2-3 years went up to a maximum of $12,000 plus a month. It's nice, you know.
That's
and I was working really, yeah, and I was working really hard, and my licensing was suffering because I was focusing so much into Zazzle. And at that point in time, Zazzle, we went through that abrupt and terrible change when they changed everything about promotion and volume bonuses and everything, and my income dropped by 1/2 in 1 month. And I mean, I had just been at Zazzle headquarters meeting with people there, and I come home the next week and bam, this had happened. So
I think you and I
at
were
that
there.
point in time,
Sorry, I think you were there like a month before I was, because I got there just as they had done the change with the volume bonus. And I was like, should I say something? Should I not say something? Because that was like a huge impact. It was very hurtful. Let's just put it that way. But it made us realize a lesson that we have to be like able to do stuff on our own. We can't depend on those bonuses, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but
exactly.
I cut you off. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's okay. So that's though when I realized I needed my eggs in more than one basket. And I turned my attention back to licensing more intensely. And I don't particularly work really well. I'm ADHD. I need to be intensely focused on one thing. And so I'm either all in for licensing or I'm all in for Zazzle. And it's really hard for me to pull away from one or the other. And so my licensing career began to take off because of that. And you guys teach, you teach about how passive Zazzle income can be. And I went very passive. It was just hard for me to get back. And I was so heavy into weddings and things that just even the thought of going back, I always had to create this, 30-piece collection. Rather, I wasn't doing some of the simpler items. And so it just was this emotional tug back and forth. So anyway, licensing took off, and then probably 4 or 5 years, my income still stayed $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Christmas is a bad season for me because I'm only special occasions. So I've learned from you, get off your duff, create decor. I create decor for the industry, but I don't have enough of it in my own store. I have 8 terabytes of artwork sitting on my hard drives that a lot of these people will say, I have to go pay for that. I have to go find an artist. I have to create all this stuff. I can go shopping on my own hard drive and create 10 products a day. You know, it's not that hard. And especially now that I know what I'm supposed to do. So anyhow, fast forward to COVID. Because I was like 90% in occasions, it knocked me on my keister. You know, I'm down, I don't remember exactly what my lowest month, I think I was $500 or something ridiculous, you know, the month after COVID hit. And that's when I gave you a call, you know, within probably a month of that, and just said, you know what, I need to go back to the basics. We had a lovely chat. You know, do you want to do, you know, we could just do custom. We could, you know, here's all the different ways we could do this. And I realized, because I got so much help at the beginning, I didn't learn the basics. And then on top of that, the basics have changed. The basics change all the time. I get in, remember when they went from 50 tags to 10 tags?
Yep.
And then all they did is they checked the first 10 words, not even first 10 tags. I still run across things. And it's like, how on earth is anybody ever finding this? Yep. It's ridiculous. So I began to pay attention to the foundational bricks, making sure they were in place and a good solid foundation. And you told me, don't go back and redo all your stores. Don't, you know, you just have to move forward and clean up as you go. So that's been what I've been doing. So don't look too close at my stores. They're still not there, but all the new work is going in the right place. and I still am making time consistently as I can to move categories and to do whatever. And hopefully by the end of this year, the goal is to have my main store, which is, it's luxury weddings is what I originally did. I can't think off the top of my head what I changed for the actual visible title. And by the end of the year, that should be, you know, in a presentable format and stuff. But it's been the attention to the tiny details. You are the unusual person who's creative, but also really right-brained in terms of the analytics, in terms of observation, in terms of the numbers and all of that kind of crunching stuff. And you pick up on those details that in my chaotic life, in my chaotic creative, I'm doing like mental 180s 3 times a day at 90 miles an hour at times.
Wow.
So I don't have the attention or the ability to find those things, but I will retain them once I hear them. And, you know, so anyway, so thank you. You've meant a lot in my life. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Really, really glad that you're doing so much better and understanding what you were missing, because that's really all it is. You have incredible, beautiful artwork that needs to be seen. What did you say? How many gigs of art?
8 terabytes.
8
That's
terabytes. 8 terabytes. Let's see some more of that stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's on one hard drive. That's only on one hard drive. And then I have a kind of older artwork that's on another hard drive that's probably 5 or 6 terabytes. Yeah, it's insane.
But
it's a mess too.
I thought it's very interesting that you at the beginning you had such great success, because obviously your artwork is beautiful, but that you realized that you hadn't actually done the proper things to set up. It was just that someone had helped you and was promoting your artwork.
Yeah, and for anyone, like, I don't want to cut you off too much, but explain how that works, because maybe some people don't understand how that works.
Well, there's an affiliate program with Zazzle as well that you are able to promote either your own or other people's artwork, and you can earn a referral income from that. And so I think what Audrey Jane mentioned was that maybe some high affiliate marketer found your work and was doing the marketing for you externally, and not on Zazzle, but externally on their own platform. So you were earning a lot of money from third-party sales. And so that's great for her, but when maybe that affiliate marketer stopped promoting, or when everything changed on Zazzle, you didn't have the basics, like as you said, the bricks or the foundations properly, because your titles and tags weren't really great, and your actual structure of your store wasn't the greatest. And so, yeah, it's an interesting journey because it's sort of been extremely opposite of what we've found with other students, where they just have had struggled on their own for a really long time and they weren't seeing success, but you did see success. But you still had some issues with some of your titles and tags and things.
Yeah, especially you reminded me of the 50 tags, and then they
Yeah, I
just switched to
forgot.
10.
I forgot
And
about
I
that.
totally forgot that they took each word.
Mhm.
Like, so if you had like a tag that had 3 words in it, all of a sudden that was the first 3 tags.
Like baby's first birthday.
Yeah, yeah. And it was nuts because that's the same thing that happened to me. It was just all of a sudden, whew, there's like a lot, like less activity. What's going on?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, anyone who's in that boat that was one of these longtime Zazzlers that always had 50 tags and then it just dropped off, maybe go check your titles and tags.
I was just thinking about that right now. I was like, I need
I
to
need
go
to go-
back.
I need to go
You'll
back.
be shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely
and
forgot
I-
about that.
And I never connected with, after you pointed out, I realized I'd seen it when I read the information that came over from Zazzle. They were trying to alert me last year. They sent me an email and said, we think you have real potential here. You need to look at the tags and titles and descriptions and, and we can be promoting you. And I was so busy, especially at that point, I was just so busy, I couldn't stop and do that. And so what did I miss?
Yeah.
There's so many what ifs. You can't do that. You start from where you are and you just start every day doing the right thing a little bit each day and you'll get where you need to be.
Wow, that's great advice. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now let's talk about that journey. You said you were down to almost like 500 a month. That's a huge change from like 10,000 to then 4,000, which was after we lost the volume bonus, to like 500, holy smokes, last year. So how are you doing now after you've started with the Profit by Design Academy? I know the answer, but I'm gonna
Well, you know the answer. Yes, you do. Let's see, I started with you in May of last year, and my March, and forgive me, I can't recall the exact titles of the goals. The achievable goal, I think, is the first one.
Yeah.
The
Well,
lower.
yeah.
Okay. The
ERSD.
The achievable goal I set was $3,000 to hit within a year. I hit that. I hit $3,500 just last month. With the increase from the increase month by month, I should hit the $5,000 goal by the end of this year. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened before that. So, and again, kind of the same thing that I learned when I first started Zazzle. I kept doing the right things, whether it seemed to be producing money yet or not, because it was slow the first couple of months. And a lot of that was because, again, a huge chunk of my market, who was having a wedding, who's having a baby shower. Again, I was in such an intense mode in that season, again, in the licensing end, that I didn't jump on the virtual stuff. There's things even if I'd had the time to notice, might have noticed it on my own, but I didn't. So, and then that's the first goal is called achievable. What's the second one?
Oh, it's actually easy, reasonable, stretch, and
Easy.
brief. So your achievable was like the E,
Easy.
so easy, yeah.
Right. Yeah,
So your
okay.
reasonable goal
So my is 5,000, right?
okay.
Is that how that is?
Yeah.
I forget. It sticks in here, but the term doesn't stick. So,
That's okay.
and then my long term is over 10,000 again.
Wonderful.
Because
Wonderful.
life
Way
is a
to
lot
go.
more fun when you're making $10,000 a month.
I'd say so.
I'd
What
say
I
so.
like though now is that you've actually built everything up properly so that it's working for like your business. It's not that you were now relying on the volume bonus or that you're relying on somebody for marketing and selling your products for you. It's now you, so that now the $10,000 a month, it's not so, iffy if it's going to be there or not anymore. Right. I mean, if all goes well and then you're still selling and continually and everything is perfect,
Yeah.
but now it's your own business, right? And it's working for you the way that you want it to be.
Well, and I think also for you and your maybe you've already, you know this, but I want to just point this out to everyone listening, is Audrey is working really hard on not just being dependent on the weddings,
Yep.
right? And weddings are coming back in terms of something that people are doing even during COVID. It's just like Audrey said, there's like virtuals and smaller weddings and all that stuff, but she's paying attention to that now because first of all, she's in our training. And secondly, it's something that we do in our community. We help people, we give people advice and tell them, look, this is what the trend that's coming up. In fact, I think one of our blog posts that's coming up just recently in the next little bit is going to actually say something about that again. So just even being part of our community, even without being invested in our courses, you're going to be taken care of because we are here to help you. We're here to empower people like Audrey Jean. It's just like the way that we need to be. What did you say? You said it's certainly a lot nicer to be earning $10,000 a month. Yes, it is. And you're finally getting paid for the value that you're serving your customer with. And you're just trying to use the system properly, i.e. Zazzle, to be able to connect with that customer because they definitely want your stuff. And this is where we come in, and also managing your time and everything. And that's another thing that has been really good for Audrey. She now knows it's like, even though she's got like, I can't do this and do this, I have to focus on one thing, but just now we focus on one thing in the other thing, and it's still working off for paying off for her because it's working, right? And so that's where we help you as well with processes and mindset that it's possible and so on. And look at this woman smiling. She's like, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, you are like seeing a woman who's happy, whereas before it was like, Elka, I don't know what to do. This is what's happened. And she's like, we're not really in a great spot, and no one would be in that spot because it's like, holy smokes, I went from 10 to 5 to 500 in monthly earnings. What the heck just happened? And like the whole world just crashes out from under you. And so that's where we come in. We go like, it's okay, we can figure this out together, we can help you move forward. And so I just love this success story. And snap for everybody who doesn't know what we do. Every time it's like so many words would never explain how many amazing things we could say about it. We do snap. It's like, you just got this, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you have to kind of get in the mood for it, but it just says so much. It means like, we're so happy for you, we're so proud of you, we're so excited for you, and we are just like, we've hit our mission because we have empowered Audrey Jean again, right? She's got the chops. She needed that ability to say, I've got this. I just wasn't, doing the stuff that needed to be done for me to get paid. And so this is awesome. Yeah. So we talked a little bit before we started here, and I really liked what you said about your advice that you would give to others in terms of people that you know in your community. And so can you talk a little bit about that?
I have shared Zazzle with quite a few of my licensing artist friends and encouraged them and been kind of behind the scenes. I'm just an open book. Anything I can do to help out. Because I know how hard it can be to sustain, a survivable income in our industry, and it's actually gotten harder over the years, not easier. There's artwork that they can just go buy for pennies and put on products and all that kind of stuff. So as I've done that, the things that I knew that were important, I shared with them, and I tried to give the same idea. You're gonna have to do this for a long time and maybe not see any results, little bit at a time, but I'm telling you, this is what I'm doing. This is what you can do. You can earn that income. And there's only a couple that are still on Zazzle, and it's not because their artwork isn't good. Their artwork is amazing. So anybody who's a licensed artist who's listening in on this, Elka can absolutely help you get the foundation in, but you will, like I did, have to do the steps. You have to put them into practice. You don't have to do it overnight. You have to do it a little bit every day. I have my weekly little checklist that I look at to remind myself. I look at the tags on anything that's being viewed. Every day I go look at what's being viewed that day. And if it's something new that's popping up, I'll click on that. I'll go in and look at the tags and the descriptions. I've given up the giant lists, that never get done. I just do the immediate that's on hand. I do the same thing with stuff that's selling. I go look and see, do I have a collection? I can't tell you. I have phenomenal bestsellers that didn't have a complete collection or didn't have a collection made at all. I have a wedding invitation set I'm thinking about that a single invitation in one colorway and one size sold almost 20,000 invitations.
Wow.
And it was available in a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't have a collection.
Yeah.
Somebody can find it. It's not underneath the product when, you know,
Wow.
dumb stuff, but you know, it's correctable. So I'm doing it a little bit every day.
I just love that you now have the power to understand, you know, because you understand now the importance of that. Whereas before it's like, oh man, that's another job to put it in a collection. Whereas from our Profit by Design Academy training, you now understand the potential
Mhm.
of that. And that's
Yeah.
huge, right? Because now you can be empowered to make a decision as to whether you want to do it or not do it. And you can just set the urgency. And that means you're a business owner. That means you're like starting to like really do informed
CEO.
decisions.
Yes, the
Yeah.
CEO.
Yes.
You're the CEO.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And we do it for all of us who were on Zazzle before collections. We have to
Oh.
remember to be kind to ourselves, because that's the same with
I
me.
love them.
I've got these amazing sellers, and I'm just going like, how come they're not selling even more? Like they're so popular. And it's like, it's not even in a collection.
Yep.
So I'm waiting for one link in the entire Zazzle billions of products for that one link to keep selling me things. Obviously, it's been just, you know, brought to other places, like people have promoted it, I promoted it, whatnot. But it's still just the one link, and I'm not using those collections, which it's like a huge value bomb for today as well. Besides the title and tags, we're just
Yeah.
covering everything because
Oh, yeah.
Audrey gets it. She gets it now that she's had the training.
Yeah.
Other thing that's been huge is Pinterest. I had given up on Pinterest. When they changed to the new referral program, I opted in. I opted in slow because I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention again. But I'm up to $400 plus a month.
Wow.
And it's no more difficult than I create. For me, the workflow works. I create a product. As soon as I'm done, I put it in a collection so that it's going right into the collection. And then I put it in Pinterest and I create a collection with the same name on Pinterest. I pop it in there, and then I spend time 2 or 3 times a week where I'll go in and add, you know, other, you know, boho wedding, I'll add some nice imagery to go on, ideas, color palettes, and that kind of stuff. And that's it. It's no more
Wow.
complicated than that. So, and for me, for somebody else, they might spend a whole day just doing that. It's easier for me, again, to just do the consistent thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's all what we're about, right? Passive income, low-hanging fruit, do the least amount of work, get the most amount out of it, and you've just like nailed it. So you are just like the model student here. This is fantastic. I love that that income is coming in for you. And whoever doesn't understand it's a very new promoter program number 2 is what it's called. And it's a very new referral program so that you can make 35% off of everything that you promote that belongs to you, right? Like if you promote someone else's, you still get 15%. But if you promote your products that you have on Zazzle, and of course, Audrey Jean's products are absolutely amazing. And so they just kind of sell themselves. And so why not do that, right? She's leaving 35% on the table if she doesn't. And so I'm glad you picked up Pinterest again.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Okay, so we've done an incredibly amazing podcast. I don't know, is there one last thing you want to tell people before we head off for this? But so thank you so much for being here, by the way. But as you
thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's been a joy. I would say you can never stop learning. It doesn't matter who you are, you know, what your name is, what you've achieved, where you've accomplished. We are in a world that if you are not moving forward, you're going to be left behind. It is just the way it is. That means I had to learn the internet. That means I had to learn how to digitize my artwork. It means I had to learn how to create product mock-ups and all of these different things. There is no school you can go to be a licensed artist. It is all on the job training, and it's challenging, to put it mildly. But you have to invest in you. So I take Skillshare classes. I have a yearly subscription, and I take other people's watercolor classes. I take other people's graphic design classes. I do what it takes to keep priming the creative pump. And then in teaching I could have stopped everything and dug in, and I might have gotten 50% of what you guys have. Maybe not. But how much time would have I invested, rather than simply going to someone who it's working, and it's not just working for you guys, it's working for a lot of people that have committed to what you're doing. Now, there's no guarantee that it will work. Your artwork has to be of a good enough caliber, your design skills. I mean, there's a lot in there, but if you've got all that part, you guys can help with the rest. So
Well, we can't say any more than that. That
That's
was
awesome.
just brilliant. Thank you so much for the shout out. But what we wanted to say is thank you so much for being so honest with yourself that you looked for that help and you got that training, because that's what a lot of people struggle with. Even I struggle with, is like, I know everything. I'm fine, but no, the numbers showed that I wasn't fine at the beginning and I needed help. And once you become that, you never stop learning. You don't know what you don't know is the best message that Audrey Jean could have given you. And then seek the right help. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for letting me as you're my idol. and now I'm interviewing you, and it's like I'm just so pleased and happy that you're able to be on our podcast, and I'll cherish this hour or how long have we been on? About 25 minutes or
about half an hour. Yeah.
So I really cherish this. Thank you so much. And
well,
it really
when
allows
I
us to
grow up,
What's
when
that?
I grow up, I want to be Elka. So there we go.
Oh, well, that's very, very kind. So we're going to be like, both of us are going to be like each other's role models. Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us. And do you want to say something to head out?
Well, no, just thank you so much for joining us, Audrey. And then also thank you for listening on the podcast. And then also if you're watching this on YouTube, and just stay tuned for our next episode. Yeah.
Yeah. And give some Audrey some love, promote her stuff. You'll make lots of money.
All right. Well, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Okay, I'm stopping the recording. I wasn't saying goodbye to you. I'm just stopping the recording.
Well, that was absolutely brilliant. That was really, really wonderful. So thank you so much for being on. And I truly mean that. I didn't just mean that for the podcast. Like I always thought, wow, she's got it together. She's amazing. I want to and I do watercolor too, but I would never be in a position to do as good a watercolor.
I'm being distracted by what's behind you. I'm looking at all of the views.
I'm looking at all the artwork.
Oh my goodness.
Like I want to do one like that. And it was always wonderful. Yeah.
I still get up every single morning. This career has been 40 years almost.
Wow.
Various shapes and forms. And I still go up every morning excited. I don't know what I'm going to create that day. It never gets old. I have no plan. I have zero plans to retire. I love what I do. Now I do intend to do it less, because I'm probably about 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, right now.
Yeah.
But that's temporary. That's what it'll take to get back where I need to be. And then I know how to pull back.
I'm really glad that you're doing so much better. And make sure that you keep asking some questions. You're a special case, even though you just took the Profit by Design Academy. If you want to know some more trends and things like that, just shout out to us, okay? Because the weddings are coming back, but also there's things that we want to branch out for you so that you're not just in weddings, because so much of that stuff can be just like baby home decor, like you said on the podcast. And if you ever want to say okay, I'm short of time, what should I focus on right now? We can always help you with things like that.
One of the things I discovered, and it really surprised me, was the tiles, ceramic tiles. And I had made a few on some things. And so I'm literally I'm working again, a little at a time, to launch a complete kitchen home decor line somebody could do their entire backsplash with.
Yep.
I have patterns. I have stuff that, it's just sitting there. It's like a pot of gold just sitting there that needs to get into here, get online. So we'll get there.
I'm wondering, some of our top students are now hiring some people to do some of the grunt work. So I'm wondering if you're interested in that too.
I have managed people. Before I went to the internet and all of this stuff, I had a manufacturing company. I had 5,000 gift stores across the nation, Hallmark and things of that nature. I had a calligraphy line. I'm a writer also, so I did text and all this kind of stuff. And we literally were bankrupted by 9/11. We didn't have to do bankruptcy, but basically when the towers came down, 50% of our business was in the 3 states right around there.
Wow.
And we didn't get an order for 40 days or more.
Wow.
And small business, there's just nobody that's set up that can survive that. And I learned in that I don't enjoy managing people. It's really draining for me. It's draining for my creativity. At that point in time, I had 15 creative days a year to drive my whole line.
Wow.
And so I've
still stress in your face.
Yeah.
I can still see the stress in your face.
Yes.
So we'll just get rid of that. No hiring for you. No
But
hiring.
I don't know how you could upload things more in a fast way. So what your process is that you have an idea for a design and then you search for it on your hard drive and then you upload it, or you're just
I searched the hard drive basically. Like I just got a licensing request for 15 wall art items that they wanted done in a larger size. I make everything large to start with, but this is a little bit older. So I had to kind of recreate it, and pull stuff together. So just looking at that is enough to go, okay, I need to do that. I can get rid of that background, because it was 5, 6, 7 years ago. I can throw a watercolor wash, a modern shaped watercolor wash behind the shells, and that's going to be a new life for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I'll just simply go in and then I'll do 4 tiles that'll go for a kitchen, for a beachy something. I will do 4 pillows or more. I'll do patterns that'll coordinate with that because I've done fabric collections. So I've got these patterns. They're ready to just pop into the tiler. Just time. Just time.
That's awesome.
I didn't get a chance to, I just realized something that I had wanted to share and I didn't get to, but that's all right. I have now created, it was really hard to do Zazzle and do licensing, but I've created a workflow where unless I have a crisis, it's got to be to them first thing in the morning, I'll create 10 products and I can get that done usually in an hour, maybe 2 hours max.
Wow.
Depends on how much research I need to do on titles and tags and, and colors and that kind of stuff. But so if I do 10 every day,
Wow.
and I work 5 days a week, average 6 days sometimes, that, I'm going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
60 products a week. No?
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I've been averaging 300 plus probably. So at some point in time, I'll ramp down.
Yeah.
Because I do need to sleep.
Yeah. Now, are these all new designs? Like every single one of them is a different image, or are they multiples?
Yeah, there'll be multiples. There'll be, because I'm creating a whole product suite on that. I could never create another piece of artwork and I could work the rest of my life on Zazzle.
That's amazing. I just had a quick question though, because we actually worked with one of a lady, her name was Lisa Audette.
Yeah, I've talked with Lisa. I called her after that. And
okay.
I said, if you have any questions, I'm here too. And if you are wondering if what they're telling you is right, I'm telling you, follow it. Good girl, way to go. So,
but she said something about how she had a lot of restrictions based on her stuff. So some of her artwork couldn't go on certain products because it would be competing with her agreement.
Yeah, I talked to her about that. And I said, you know what? I was really, really concerned about that at the beginning. It's just it really is a whole different, ball of wax. And so maybe not, like most of her stuff is wall art, and stuff like that. So you're not going to stick it on wall art there, but that does not mean, and it's so one-off. It's not really a competition. And I've had one manufacturer that got pissy about it. And that was my bath, Avanti linens. And I said, no sweat. I'll just, I just turned them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, was like I'd sold 20, maybe 20 shower curtains, which is good for a shower curtain. It's just not that high of a, of a market. And it was like no big deal. So a lot of licensed artists are kind of more worried than they need to be about it.
I see.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Well, because I was wondering, I was like, if you're making all of these, like you have 8 terabytes on one hard drive that clearly you made for a purpose and you're able to use them now on Zazzle. I was just wondering if you had any problems with that or if you just free range.
Yeah,
or
she
free
was
game.
very concerned
Yeah.
about that. And like, I was like, oh no, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. It's like, okay, well, but yeah, then
I talked to her
you're-
about that though. So
that's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
my favorite, you're not supposed to have a favorite agent, but my favorite agent of my 4 agents was Lisa's agent.
Okay.
Ah,
And so I got to, chit chat with her a little bit and talk to her about Kathy and, and all the rest of it. And her work is phenomenal.
She's
I mean,
she's got beautiful art. Plus, when we started working with her, we were just like, you're like Martha Stewart. Like her Instagram is gorgeous. She's gorgeous. She's just like, oh, I'm having fun painting, and she's got everything, beautifully
know.
set up. And
See, I'm just not. I wish that was more me.
I know, me too.
I'm
Yeah.
the introvert. I'm happy in my own little world. My husband, comes down the hall. Am I allowed to talk to you?
Yeah.
We all are who we are, and
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
does-
but like she already had so much going for her, and then she was looking for like instant gratification. So I hope you got her to understand it takes a
Yeah.
bit of time.
So, but I hope she's doing well now because her store looks really great, and she was actually
Oh,
featured
yeah.
on the designer's homepage. And
yeah.
she didn't even know. I messaged her on WhatsApp and I said, "You're on the homepage. Like, congratulations." She's like, "Wait, what?" So, yeah.
Yeah, we talked. She's been like, she doesn't do all of that stuff. She's paying people to
Yeah.
products and
Yeah,
stuff.
we worked with her team. There was
Yeah.
always 4 or 5 people on the chat with
Yeah.
us when we were working with her.
That's
So,
hard to be able to finance that long enough to make it come about. So I can understand from
Yeah.
from her standpoint.
Well, that's what we told her as well. We said, look, don't pay this person anymore. They're not doing a good job, but pay someone else, or, like we can work with the other person, but
yeah.
this
And it
person's
was
not doing
interesting
what she needed to have
because
done.
we asked her too, because it was a team, and we said, how are you dividing up the earnings? Because is it going to be all Lisa, or are you paying, what's his name, Alain and stuff like that? And they said that they were going to divide it up based on what they earned. And I was like,
Oh, really? I didn't know that
I
part.
think so. And I was like, that's going to be like, cents per person at the beginning. So I don't know how they've managed it afterwards, but she worked with us for, 8 sessions or so, private sessions. And then after that, we haven't really talked too much, but since then her store looks really great and she's come a long way. So
I'm glad you were able to give her a second perspective, because that's all we want. We want people to be happy, and she was not happy at the end of it. She's like, how come this is not working? I'm putting so much money into it. And it's like, yeah, well, but it's like what you said with the help. Like, it's a lot of work to get your people to do the right thing. And
it isn't magic.
Yeah. It doesn't just happen because you throw money at it. No.
Yeah.
But I want to know, is that lamp also from Zazzle, or did you
It is.
that's your design? Yeah.
That's fun.
That's fabulous. Yeah, I like it. And I liked how big it is. I didn't realize they were that big.
Yeah.
They're not as big as I would like them to be. It's only maybe 12 inches.
Yeah.
Oh, it's weird. The perspective of your camera made it look so far away. So it actually looks a lot bigger.
fireplace-
And then you
it's
just
right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way the fireplace is, I thought it was
Yeah.
like big, this big. Yeah, 2
Yeah.
feet. But that's cool. I love it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, continue to do what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job, and so much, like, I'm really, really happy for you.
Yeah.
Well, feel free to share my story. My life is an open book. And I just want other people to be blessed. So.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you very
So
much.
what we can do is like a follow-up, and yeah, and we've been recording this part, so maybe we use this little snippet
Absolutely.
as well.
Well, I would be cautious about the Lisa audit.
Oh
part.
yeah, no.
No.
Lisa,
I mean,
no.
I
No,
like the
but that
end
first part where you said,
Yeah.
"Oh, I forgot to say this," that would be
Yeah.
really
Gotcha.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like as another little snippet somewhere, and then also let's hear a follow-up from you, like at Christmas, and see what happens.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm doing Mother's Day. I'm doing graduation. So,
Yay.
Awesome.
and I've sold my first 2 Mother's Day mugs. So,
Wow.
well, I mean, I shouldn't say first 2, but of the new designs, they sold very quickly. So,
Do you have I'm assuming you obviously have Christmas artwork stuff too, no?
I do, but Christmas has never been like super amazing for me.
Hmm.
I've been more everyday kind of stuff. And stuff. However, I got yesterday, my agent sent in, there's a tabletop company called Certified International. They're the top tableware that's art based. You would love taking a look at it. Susan Wingett does a lot with them. They're just phenomenal, and their quality is, oh my gosh, it's just amazing. So I just got done creating a melamine line for beach that's going into their catalog. It's going to be actually in their company. A lot of these companies do private labeling. So it might go into Costco under the Kirkland brand. It might go to Target. It might go to other places, and you won't see the artist name on it generally. They're, it'll be in their catalog under my brand. And when they just contacted my agent yesterday, I mentioned Christmas. I have this Christmas gnome set, Christmas at Gnome Home Tree Farm. And so they want to do that as an actual ceramic dinnerware set for Christmas. So yeah,
that's wonderful.
That's
gnomes are big. So yeah, and I was gonna say, if you haven't got the red truck with the tree,
I know, I was about to say.
I've got it.
Yeah.
I'm late to jump on things because I think they're already old by the time I see them, but I'm realizing I see way out in advance. And so I'm getting better. Oh, that's another thing I was wanting to share is that, is that because of the protectiveness I have over licensing, I don't look at anybody's artwork much. I'm very, very cautious. I don't go in depth. I might go look at somebody's store just to get a feel of exactly how things are laid out, get ideas of what looks good, what makes me feel good as a customer, and that kind of stuff. Or even the same with the artwork, maybe just kind of how the graphics are laid out or something of that nature. And so I applied that, and I apply that to licensing, but I applied that to Zazzle. And that was a huge flaw, because I have to look and see what's selling. I have to look and see what colors are selling. I have to understand what tags are now the in tags rather than 6 months ago were tags. And so that if there's probably one thing that I added in that's in the long range is going to mean the most to my business going forward, it's that.
Yeah. No, that's very true, because
kudos to you for doing that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I should let you guys go because I'm sure you have like a million things on your schedule.
Well, today actually is pretty busy though. Yeah.
Today was pretty busy, but we have like until another hour before we do our challenge. So, but we're just enjoying talking to you. It's so nice. And I just love the smile on your face and the way that you're like empowered again. When you first talked to us and you're like, I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm just really glad that we were able to help you.
You were very much. So, and we'll be buds forever. So thank you.
I get to be buds with my idol.
Yeah.
Jen is probably going to be my next class in the bridal, what you call it.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
I need the young perspective. Let's just say I have 5 grandchildren. So you know what my goal is? This is the fun part. My goal is to be 95 years old, still working and creating products that a 20-something person would buy if they knew a 95-year-old created.
That'd be really cool.
I'm right there with you. Because exactly. Like we have the power. We have the power, and we're still doing what we love, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Okay. If my grandkids don't wear me out first.
Yeah. How are your kids and your grandkids doing, by the way?
Phenomenal. We're really blessed. We have right down the street from us, about half a mile, my youngest daughter, her husband, and 3 children live.
Oh, so that's great.
They're coming over for dinner tonight, and we get to be very, very active grandparents. The other grandkids are in San Diego. So that's it's a 6 hour, but it's really a full day drive to get down there. We live in a little rural community, so air flights back and forth, although Southwest Airlines just came into Fresno, which is just 45 minutes down the hill from us. So popping to San Diego and back via airplane, our whole life just got easier to go see them. And then I have another daughter up in Washington State and a son in Texas, so they're everywhere.
all
Wow.
over the place.
But that's what the internet's for now. Like this Zoom stuff is getting to be really
know.
good.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I haven't seen my son in almost
2 years now
2 years, coming up to 2 years.
because
He's
of
in
COVID.
Nova Scotia,
Yeah.
so he's like a 2-day drive away or a 2-hour flight away. But to
Right.
get to the airport, it's an hour and a half parking if you have to be there beforehand. So really, it's just a day's journey anyway, even though
Either way you do it.
our flight. And so we're really working on the Zoom a lot until we're not allowed, like all these restrictions.
Well, the
are
thing
lifted.
is he lives in a province called Nova Scotia, and they've been very good with COVID, like very little cases. So they've kind of created this bubble where they're very restrictive in terms of who goes in and who comes out. And so we could technically go see him, but we would have to 2-week quarantine. And then it's like a form. We always say for a 2-week vacation, it'd be like a 6-month thing, right?
Or 6 months. So, yeah,
Or sorry, 6 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
anyway.
we're actually getting to the point where it's like, I'm buying a house there so that I can say I'm a resident and then I can live there. Yeah.
Little cottage.
This is a very like overachievement goal in order just to go see my son.
Yeah. But either way, but we talk on Zoom all the time. So that's
Oh,
The
well,
things
that's
a
good.
mother
I'm
will
glad
do
you're-
now.
yeah, and I'm glad your family is doing really well.
Mhm.
I still, to this day, cannot forget when you sent that link to me, or did I find it separately about your daughter singing?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was
Holy
on my Facebook page. Yeah, she's
Oh.
amazing. She
Wow.
could have been a
Wait,
pro.
I don't remember this now. Is this
You
It was
like I
the
was
Star Spangled
crying.
Banner, I think it was the Star
yeah,
Spangled
right. Was she at a farm or what was
Yeah,
it?
Banner.
no,
That's our
she was in
house.
a
That's our
field.
property.
Yeah.
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 I was crying. I was going, Jen, listen to this.
Yeah.
It's like I couldn't even talk. It's like
Yeah.
this will
No,
make
I
you
remember
cry.
that. I
I
remember
can't
that.
carry a tune in a bucket. So she's my stepdaughter. There is no genetics in that voice. That's all hers.
Either way, she's your stepdaughter, so that
Yes, she's my daughter.
you're really proud of her. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
absolutely.
Okay, so anyway, we better get going. Thank you
Okay.
so much for being on with us, and I really appreciate what you've done just now.
Yeah.
You're going to inspire a lot of people.
Mhm.
I'll have to go find the link and I'll listen to you in the background today on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
There should be an email being sent out soon with the link. So yeah.
The this podcast will be going out, and it'll be 2 weeks from now. It'll be public. We'll tell you about it.
Mhm.
Okay, fine.
Alrighty. Have a really great rest of the day.
You too, guys.
Bye.
Take care.